Have you ever noticed something strange? By almost every measure, life should be getting better. We have more technology, more convenience, more entertainment, more comfort. You can have food delivered to your door, watch almost any film ever made, speak to someone on the other side of the world instantly. And yet, so many people seem unhappy, anxious, stressed, burnt out. In fact, if you ask many people how they're doing, you'll often hear the same answer: tired. Which raises a fascinating question. If life is becoming easier, why does happiness seem harder to find? If you transported someone from 100 years ago into modern life, they'd probably think they've arrived in paradise. We live longer. We travel further. We have access to knowledge that previous generations could only dream of. Need directions? Your phone has them. Need information? It's available within seconds. Need entertainment? You have more of it in your pocket than entire countries once had access to. On paper, we should be happier than ever. But happiness doesn't work like that. Because humans are incredibly good at adapting. Very quickly, extraordinary things become normal. The smartphone that once felt magical becomes boring. The new car becomes just a car. The dream house eventually becomes the house. What once made us excited slowly becomes our baseline, and then we start looking for the next thing. For most of human history, people compare themselves to a relatively small group. Friends, family, neighbors. Today, we're comparing ourselves to millions of people. Every time we open social media, we're shown the highlights of other people's lives. Exotic holidays, new homes, perfect relationships, career success, and even when we know those images don't tell the whole story, our brains still compare. It's almost automatic. You could be having a perfectly good day. Then suddenly, you see somebody your age buying their dream home, traveling the world, launching a business, running a marathon, and apparently maintaining flawless skin at the same time. And now your perfectly good day feels slightly less perfect. The problem isn't that other people are doing well. The problem is that we're now exposed to more comparison than any generation in human history. This might sound strange, but boredom used to play a surprisingly important role in life. Waiting for a bus? You just waited. Standing in a queue? You stared into space. Sitting alone? You thought. Now, the second boredom appears, we reach for our phones. Every spare moment gets filled. Videos, messages, news, notifications. Our brains are constantly being fed stimulation. And over time, something interesting happens. Normal life starts feeling less exciting. Because when your brain is constantly consuming highly stimulating content, everyday experiences can start to feel dull by comparison. A quiet evening, a walk outside, reading a book. things that once felt relaxing can start feeling underwhelming. Not because they've become worse, but because our expectations have changed. One of the biggest misconceptions about happiness is the idea that we're supposed to feel it all the time. We're not. Nobody does. Not even the happiest people you know. Happiness was never designed to be a permanent state. It's a feeling. And feelings come and go. The problem is that modern culture often sells the idea that happiness should be permanent. If you're not happy, there must be something missing. A better job, more money, a new relationship, a different city. And sometimes those things genuinely help. But often, people arrive at the thing they thought would make them happy and discover they're still themselves. With the same worries, the same insecurities, the same human brain. Convenience is wonderful. Nobody misses getting lost without GPS, or waiting weeks for information, or spending hours doing tasks technology now completes in seconds. But convenience and fulfillment are not the same thing. Many of the things that give life meaning are now surprisingly inconvenient. Building relationships, learning skills, raising children, creating something, improving yourself. These things take effort, time, patience, and sometimes frustration. But they are often the experiences people remember most. The irony is that while modern life has become incredibly efficient, many of the things that create lasting happiness still require slow, messy human effort. So why is happiness becoming harder to find? Maybe it isn't disappearing at all. Maybe it's being drowned out by comparison, by distraction, by unrealistic expectations, by the constant pressure to optimize every moment of our lives. The strange thing is that many of the things humans have always needed haven't changed much. Connection, purpose, meaning, time with people we care about, a sense that we're moving in the right direction. Technology has transformed the world, but it hasn't changed what makes us human. And perhaps that's why happiness feels harder to find. Not because it's gone, but because we're often looking for it in places it was never meant to be found. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more fascinating explanations behind everyday things. Thanks for watching.